I'm Sandra Younger. I'm the inventor of a cord knotting tool called the Knotty Do-It-All, and we are going to be using this tool to make our project today. And I call this the elegant half hitch because there's just something about this technique that is really, really cool. And let me explain to you. The interesting thing about it is that you can take like small beads, like let's say for instance, or like, should I say like small whole beads or even small beads. But what this technique does, it just gives a really like interesting like feel or drape to your piece. And this technique really lends itself well to like small beads. Like, let's see what I have here. Ooh, this one here. So the thing with this was, okay, I'll tell you what happened. The beads would not fit on the cord that I wanted to weave with. So the trick is to put a thinner cord on the inside and then do your weaving with the thicker cord. Because normally when you do half hitches, like let's say this one, for example, the core, which is the inside, is the same as the cord that you weave with. So, you know, that's not a problem. But when you're working with like tiny beads and you want to use a thicker cord, it just gives it a really nice feel. And the look is just, it's so elegant and beautiful. And that is what we are going to learn today. And I'm going to show you how to attach the two cords. But before we do that, I do want to like share with you some really cool tips and tricks. So let's see. Tip number one. Okay, I think I have the materials list here. And you'll definitely need a flip bobbin. These flip bobbins are really handy. They you can wind your cord into them, and then as you're working, you could just release it and then close it. So the flip bobbins are like fantastic. And as far as stringing materials go, you can use just about anything that's like on the thinner side. I would say like a 0.5 millimeter up to 0.9. That usually works really well. But one thing that you might want to do if you are working with S-Lon, okay, because like I mentioned, like sometimes, you know, the thread will fit the core, and then you could do your weave with it, which in this case, it's like a half hitch. One thing that you do want to do is wax your cord. Let's say you're going to use like S-Lon. Waxing it really, really helps because when you're doing the knots, it just helps them like stick better. So just, you know, wax the whole thing. And, you know, in a lot of my videos, I talk about different kinds of wax, either like paraffin or beeswax. And beeswax has more stick to it. So you definitely want to use like beeswax, not paraffin. Paraffin's good for other things though. So that's why you want to have some beeswax. And when you finish the ends, for some reason, I mean, normally I don't put GS Hypo Cement on wax cord, but for this one I do, just for insurance. So, you know, having some GS Hypo Cement is handy. And another thing that I highly recommend is a thread zapper, because these threads are so like thin that, you know, you don't want to take any chances using a lighter. I mean, I do use a lighter in a lot of my work, but you don't want to do that. And let's see, what else? Ooh. All right, I guess I could just get into getting the two cords together. Okay, so for this project, I'm going to be using like an upholstery thread. You can buy upholstery thread at, you know, any like craft store, but just make sure that it says like upholstery. And the one that I'm using is a size 69, and it's, you know, it's thin. But the interesting thing about it is polyesters are very, very strong, and that's perfect for this project. So I'm gonna, I think, you know, you need maybe just like a couple of yards. And, you know, if you go over it, you know, it's no big deal. It just depends, honestly, on how long you want to make your project. And for this one, it's going to be about a 15-inch necklace. So I have this, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a clasp. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So let me get a clasp. And when you pick a clasp or even a button, just make sure it's something like that fits just like the overall like size of your project. You don't want anything, you know, if it's a dainty project, you don't want anything too big. Let me see, what do I have here? Seems like everything I have is like on the big side. I've got to have something. Huh. Well, you know what? Just for like show, I'll use this one. But normally I would use something a little bit smaller. Let me see, I've got to have something smaller. Do you guys see anything here? I've got so much, so many clasps. Like you don't want to use something like this unless you're making like a big, you know. I'll just use this gold one. Why not? Let's use the gold one. I mean, even though it's not going to match the pendant, I just want to show you how to do this. Okay, so with this cord, this is the interesting part. It's going to have a fold, and in this fold, you are going to be attaching a leadered needle. So let me grab the leadered needle, and I'll tell you all about that. In case you're not familiar, what it is, it's like a thin thread. And since I'm working with little tiny beads, normally, if you've seen any of my other videos, I recommend like a 6-pound or 4-pound fishing line. However, when you're working with really, really tiny beads, what I do is I step down to a very, very thin thread. And this is not upholstery thread, but quilting. It's like, and it comes in a bunch of different colors. And I think my favorite color is black, only because I can see it, because the clear stuff is like almost impossible. So, and I've got a needle that I know will go through the bead. So we're gonna take this leadered needle, and we are going to feed it into the cord, just like that. All right. So we're just gonna, my end left me. All right, so we have our end, and we're going to feed this into the clasp, just like that. There we go. See that? Okay, now this part, okay, this gets a little bit strange, and I'm going to do it as slowly as possible so that you can follow along. Okay, so let me move everything over. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a pin and a clip and put it an inch apart, and you're going to take one of your blue plastic needles that came with your kit, because that's going to come in handy. And we are going to get these two cords together. I'm going to see, so what I'm doing is I'm going to be tying my the core to the weaving cord, which is on my flip bobbin right here. Okay, so this is interesting. So this part, remember, like I just bent it in. Now I'm going to feed this cord in. I'm going to pull about maybe 6 inches or so. And then I'm going to fold it. And then I'm going to clip all of them into a clip, just like that. Okay, so now we are going to put all the cords behind the peg. And you're going to take your needle. Let me get this focused. Let me zoom in some more. Okay, and you're going to take the thread that you're going to grab is the thicker waxed cord one. What you're going to do is we're going to be making a moose knot. So I'm going to wrap 3 times around. I think that's good. I'm going to feed this through the eye of the needle, and then I'm going to pull it through, just like that. So just so, like, if you're like trying to think about it and you've never done this, remember in here we have one cord that's just like bent in, but the other one we did the knotting with. So when you take this off, you just, you could put this into one of the pegs and just come in here and pull the thicker one. Just kind of get it nice and tight. And then you're gonna grab this thicker one and just, you're gonna slide it up. But those other two cords, they're just gonna naturally like kind of pop up like that. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna come down here and take those short cords and just pull them. And see, when you pull them, everything just comes down nice and tight. See that? So the next thing that we need to do, and this is where you need to be really careful, and that's talking I highly recommend this guy instead of a lighter, because we need to come in and just put little tiny melt spots in there. So, and I mean, I've messed up sometimes where I've like melted the wrong cord. So you just want to take just all the short ones. So there should be 3 of them. So I'm gonna do this one first. Let's see, is that in focus? Right there. Okay, so I'm gonna trim it just you don't need much, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna come in here and very, very carefully with this guy, and I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to get the 2 short ones. Where are they? There's 1 and 2. Good. You just want to kind of get, I mean, if you look at it, you could kind of like bundle them together. Okay, so right there, just kind of like pull it, just so. So right, you don't need much, just about right there. Perfect. So what you'll have is interesting. So you're going to have this cord, which is the one that you weave with, and then this is the one that we're going to be stringing our beads onto. I do want to give you one really cool tip. When you're working with like waxed cord, sometimes, just depending, because there's tolerances when it's being manufactured, sometimes it's a little bit sticky. But one thing that you can do that's really cool is you can take like a black cloth. And I like black because I like to be able to see the wax when I'm trying to remove it. So what I do is I just like sandwich it in and just like pull it. And you can see, the wax just literally like coming off. And what it does is it just makes it like just nicer to work with. It doesn't feel so sticky on your hands. And so I just like remove some of the wax, just, see that? And when it just feels so nice and smooth. And another thing that I recommend doing is stretching the cord. If you, and what I do, because you're just like, girl, this is a lot of cord to stretch. And one thing that I do that's really helpful, that's really cool. I take my cloth and, I fold it in half. And I put the cord in, and then with my foot, I step on it and just like go back and forth, and just grab more cord, go back and forth. And I do lots of it at a time, and then I just rewind it back on the spool. So that's a really fast way to get the job done, and just with a black cloth. But make sure it's lint free, because you don't want a bunch of lint stuck to your cord. So anyway, so let's get started here. So okay, I guess that's good. But I do have a couple more tips. Okay, so since you need to keep track of your work, you want to put a clip right at 0. So let me get my thread. Because if you're making one for the first time and you're just not quite sure, you know, how long to make it, or, you know, it's mostly, I think it's more important for like pendant placement than anything. Because if you're making a bracelet and you want it right in the middle, you'll put it like right at 3 or 3.5. Or if you're making like a 14-inch necklace, you want to put it like right at like 7.5 or 7. So you know what I'm saying? So it's really like handy to have this connected. But one tip that I have is on one of the pegs, what I do is I wrap this bandage stuff. This is a self-adhesive bandage, and it sticks. It's so cool. And what this does is when you come in to like wrap your thread, and the reason this is important is because this thread is so thin that it's not gonna, the clip won't grip it. So having this, let's see here. Yeah, so what you do is you just wrap as many times, but we're not gonna wrap yet because we are going to attach or slide some of our beads on. So the pattern that I am going to use, let's see, I'm gonna go, ooh, I've got these beads here that I'm gonna use that I just thought looked really pretty together, which were these and some pearls. And these probably would have fit fine on Eslan, but I knew that the pearls wouldn't. So that's, but I really wanted to incorporate them. So that's like I moved over to a thinner cord for the core. So what you do is you string 3 of these guys. And then I'm gonna do, what should I do next? The pearls or the moonstone? Yeah, I'm gonna do the pearls next. I'm gonna do the pearls. And see, one of the absolutely awesome thing about the leadered needle, see how easy it is just to slide your beads on. It's just, and I use this technique anytime that I can get away with it. Like even when I'm making like malas, I'll double the cord and use, you know, a leadered needle, even with thicker cords. I mean, that is my, my thing, just leadered needles. And oh, there's one that's trying to get away. And see, the nice thing is you grab a big chunk and get it on. So pearls are next. And then the blue. Okay, so I'm gonna go, you know, and at this point, you know, I don't know like how many I'm gonna need. So I'm just gonna do a few and I'll give you like a tip, like after I've done like one group in the pattern. Because what I do is I do one group and then I measure it, and that will let me know like how many more beads I need to get on. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna do this short because I wanna be able to zoom in. Let me just move some of these back. All right. I'm gonna come in and just as many times as, like, I think the more the merrier. And then you just, you can clip it here. Because this is what's really holding the cord, what's keeping the tension. Okay, so I think the most important part of this technique, God, let me tell you guys, I like working fast, but this, you need to really like be patient, which is usually when I'm making stuff, I like to do everything really fast, but this one, you definitely need to like not go so fast. So let's take a look at what we got here. So I am going to slide a bead down. Okay, and then I'm gonna, these are just like, this is like a P on top. But you just wanna make sure that the cord that's over the bead is not like you want to make sure it's nice and tight. Top, bottom, and then top. Then, see, I'm holding this and I'm just getting that extra tension, just making sure that everything is nice and like boom, boom. I kind of tamp them down. And then I move the next one over and I do the same thing. Top. Whoops, that one. Go back. Top, bottom, and top. And once you get comfortable, see, okay, these are perfect. Okay, so, and then you slide the next one down, and you just, basically, it's very repetitive. So there's top, bottom, and then top. You just want to like make sure. I think that once you do this a few times, it'll eventually happen where the that cord is not like over. Let me see if I have an example of something that happened with. So I just want to show you. I think on all of these I was like extra careful. There's gotta be, nah, I think I was on my game when I was doing this one because it was a lot of work because this one's like really long. But when I get to the end, after I finish this one, I'll show you how I finished this one, the one that I started with the button, but that will be the next one that I show you. So this top, bottom, and top. And if this starts to get a little bit floppy, you can always just come in here and tighten it. That's one thing about this cord. I mean, that's the only there's nothing, I cannot say anything bad about this cord. It is like, I love it, but you know, it does have a tendency, it's hard to like keep like the tension on it. Okay, looking good. And now I'm gonna do these next guys. Okay, there's top, bottom, and top. Perfect. I'm trying to think of any other tips or tricks I have along the way. Perfect. You just always want to check it out before you go, because that's the only thing, that's my best bit of advice, is like before you go on, just to always make sure that these are nice and like tight. So what I do at this point, you know, I'll take this off and then I'll measure like one little section of the pattern that I had going. So I'll know how many more times I need to repeat. So right now this is at 2 inches and I want my necklace to be about 14 to 15. So 2, 4, 6, 12. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna repeat this pattern 2 more times, because we still have the middle section to do, which in the middle, I'm going to put 4 pearls and let's see. Oh, and that's another thing to think about. If you are going to be adding a side facing pendant, then when you get to the middle, you know, you'll do your 2 pearls and then you got to slide this on. Otherwise, if it's going to be like a pendant, like let's say like a fleur-de-lis, you'll have to use a jump ring to like attach it. But either way, it's going to look like fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to um, attach the rest of the beads onto this string. I'm going to knot them, and when I get to the middle, I will be right back. Well, goody, we're halfway there, but you know what? There was something that you need to think about, and that is if you are going to be attaching, let's say, a side-facing pendant, then you will need to attach that before you go on. That's really important, because I was gonna like finish, but I couldn't decide, like, because if, for a front-facing one like this, what I would do is just come back in with a jump ring and attach it. But, I was thinking, the mermaid looks pretty cute. What do you guys think? You know what, let's do the mermaid. So what you wanna do, I've done a top, bottom, top, and let's just do it. You just do a few like half hitches that are like kind of the same width as the pendant. So let me come in and, okay, that's top, bottom, top, and I'm just gonna do a few top, bottom, top. Let's check that out. You know what, I think that's perfect. Okay, so what you're gonna have to do is take, I'm glad I didn't string too much of my pattern on. Okay, so I'm gonna take these guys off. Uh-oh, well, we're just gonna have to do it, because we want that side-facing pendant on, right? So we just have to, like, undo these. Let's put that where we can find it, because those things can get lost so quickly. Now what we need to do is unravel all this. And I know that I put on way more than I needed, because I did it just in case I change my mind, because I do that all the time, but no big deal. So I'm gonna string this on. Whoops. Let's get that through. And then we'll just have to rewind it on our bobbin. And then let's make sure that we do this right. Okay, I'll put this one in, pull through. And I mean, it's facing the wrong way, but after I finish it, or it's facing the right way, depends on, it doesn't matter how you do that, but I think it looks pretty. Okay, so now I have to rewind the long cord. And one nice thing about like having a bunch of it spooled off, on there, I could always save it for another project. So let's get that rewound. And then when we go back to string our pattern on, we will have to do like opposite of what we just did. Okay. These bobbins are great. They're awesome for when you're doing a half hitch like this, and also when you are doing like a really long macrame. They're perfect. So you just do that and flip it in or down. Okay, so now we come back, and what you do is you repeat your pattern. So I'm going to get these two pearls on, and then I'll start with the gold stone. Is that what they're called, guys? You know what? I just buy stuff if I think it looks pretty. Do you guys like that too? God, one time I found these beads that were like really cheap, but they were so pretty, and I think they were like reconstituted something, I don't know, but they were, oh, did I do that right? You want to make sure, because sometimes it's really easy to mess up the pattern, which I think I might have done. I just want to make extra sure. It's always a good idea to make sure. So it's going to be 2, the goldstone, the blue, the pearls. Okay, goldstone, blue, pearl. Okay, I have. Always, and let me tell you, always double check, because nothing's worse than you do all the stringing and then you find out that your pattern is off. So it's goldstone, blue, pearl. Goldstone blue pearl. Sometimes you just gotta see, and this is one really nice thing about the leadered needle. It's just so much faster. And oh, just in case the question comes up, will this work with the griffin cord? I don't recommend it because the griffin is a little bit springy. I mean, it doesn't have the tension that I think you need. I mean, I love it for other things, but not for this. Unless maybe you're using like a size 6 or something like on the thicker side. Okay, I'm gonna double check. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pearl, 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 blah, 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 blue, 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 pearl, 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 gold, gold, gold. I mean, yeah, blue, 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 pearl, 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 gold, gold, gold. Because always check while you're doing it, because man, let me tell you, it is so easy to get like derailed. It happens to me all the time. So let me get this last one on there and okay, good. Let's get this off of here. And now when you reattach it, I would just like wrap it as many times as you have like cord left over, because you are going to need every bit of tension that you can get. And one thing that you could even do, because once it gets longer, the tension gets floppier, but I have a trick for you, especially if you're using that really thin cord with the leadered needle. So check this out. See, there's a bend on this side where the leadered needle is. So one thing that you can do is get like a thicker cord. Let me see what I have in my little stash here that's nice and thick. Ooh, this is perfect. Just like some 1 millimeter cotton cord. Because what that's gonna do is it grips the needle a lot better. So like right over here, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna put the clip in, and I'm gonna pull it nice and tight, and then this is gonna give it a really good grip. Because otherwise this cord just like slips right through your clip. Let me see. So about right there, I think that's good, because there's a little bit of wiggle, and it's perfect. So what you do is because you don't want it so tight that you don't have that space in there, because you definitely want a little bit of like movement. So then you just repeat your half hitches. So there's your top, bottom, and top. And looking back, I I just picked this the mermaid because I thought I had a silver one, but I didn't. So what I would have done, if I can go back and actually do this over again, I would like make the clasp like match the pendant. So I would have gone with like a copper or a bronze colored clasp. But you know what? That's okay. I don't care. If it's okay with you, then it's okay with me. So let me is this not focused? Okay. And then you just keep going until you get to the end, which I will finish this. And when I get to the end, I will show you how to finish it. So looking good. All right, we have got to the end. Ooh, let's check it out. And the last thing we need to do is just finish the end. Ooh, I can't wait to see how it looks. All right, guys, let's check it out. Oh, look at that. Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, I just love it. Ooh, it's so beachy looking. I like just like all the color combinations. So the last thing we need to do is finish the end. Okay, so, I think I forgot to put it on the materials list, but you do need like a ring of some sort. So I'm gonna pick up, should I pick a silver one? I don't think I have any gunmetal. You know what, I'll use this one because it matches the pendant. But like I mentioned before, I would have like picked, does it match? It kind of sort of matches. That's good enough. All right, so now we can cut our leader needle off. And you want to save it because they are reusable. And, so that way you don't have to always be like having to rethread them. And I have a pin cushion that I have handy. Let me see if I can introduce you to my little guy. Here he is. This is where I stick all my leader needles or needles that I need to do. So they're really handy. Okay, so now let's cut this. All right. So now when I got to the end here, I just did a one top and one bottom. Because what I'm gonna do here is a backward macrame, and I'm going to use a separate cord. So let's get that on there. And if you're not familiar with the backward macrame, it is like, it's so cool. It's one of my favorite ways to like finish the ends of something. But another thing to think about, just in case, because it's doable, one thing that you could do, and I have done, is I started this one with the moose knot. You could, if you're gonna have it like a two-sided, like you can make two separate pieces and then bring them together. So in the cases like that, you could start both sides, with a moose knot, and then in the middle, like do like a macrame or, whatever kind of technique you want. Okay, so I'm gonna put the ring. And very rarely do I ever put GS Hypo Cement on waxed cord, but for some reason I just feel that when I do this, that it just makes me feel like there's like extra insurance. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clip. So I'm gonna look here and just back over. Just look at it, and probably like about 1/3 of an inch, I say. Not half, not a whole inch, but when you're really branching out, doing some like really creative stuff, like I've seen some of you guys do, you can you could do like your macrame in here and do like add like beads on the outside. And if any of you follow my JTV Extra show, you know that Kumi does that. Christy, Spectacular, Sarah, Laura Lee. I mean, they are like amazing. So I'm gonna get some of the cord that I have already on my bobbin, because number one, I know that it's stretched, and number two, it's handy. Okay. All right. So now, okay, I'm gonna do one macrame just to get this part like really anchored in there. So I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna do my first just like little top knot here, right there. I'm gonna do it real nice and super tight. And that's one of the nice things when you're working with synthetics that's really important, is that you can really like pull. Like, let's say this was silk and you pulled it, it would break. But the interesting thing is you could technically make the whole thing with silk, but just do the finishing knots with the synthetics. That is one time where, sometimes, I want to use cotton or, silk, or just not a synthetic. But when I do the finishing knot, I always do a synthetic. So there's a top, and now I'm gonna do a bottom. And I'm gonna do it super, super tight. And now I'm going to add a little bit of the GS Hypo Cement. If I can get it open. Let me grab another one. Let's see. Let's see what surprises we have. Oh, well, the needle fell out. Okay, there it went. Okay, so I'm just gonna dab a little bit on there, and I'm gonna get this back in here as quickly as possible because that stuff really likes to ooze. And if you spill some, like I just did, try to wipe it up as quickly as possible because that stuff, it kind of, I don't know. It just makes a sticky mess. And one thing that I like to do is I like to kind of like work the glue around all the threads like that, just to make sure that, you know, it's like really like in there. So then I just continue to do and just make sure and like really crank it down nice and tight. Oh, I can't wait to see this one. Ooh. And then I just keep doing the macrames until I get, let me see, can we see that? I think one more. Ugh, nice and super duper tight, 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 tight. See that? See my hands are like, ugh. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in with my thread zapper and I'm gonna melt these into a tab. One thing that's helpful, guys, is, because, you know, like sometimes, you know, your cord is over the black and then you can't see. So one thing I do once in a while, I'll take just a piece of paper and I'll just put it like right underneath and see how it just really helps you see what you're doing. Tap, tap. Okay. I'm so excited. Okay, we have one more little teeny weeny itty bitty melt thing to do. I'm gonna trim these last cords here. And I'm gonna melt those very, very carefully. That's like my highly recommend one of these. You wanna like bend it away from your cords as much as possible. Let's see, can she do this? Ah, perfect. Let's check it out. Oh, I'm so excited. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh, look at that. Wow. Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, I'm gonna try it on. Let's see. The blue beads might not show because they might look white. They look white because I have a filter on my camera that's like green and but these are actually like, look how cute that is. Oh, it's the perfect length. Woohoo. And you know what I'm wondering? I don't know yet, but maybe, you know, sometimes if you're lucky, you could also get it to like wrap around your wrist. Let's see if it does that. That would be really cool. I don't think it's going to. No. Because what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have the clasp and the ring. But if it was like 18 inches long, then it would. But anyway, it's supposed to be a necklace. But wow, look at that. Isn't that cute? I love it. Oh my gosh. And like I said, they're tiny beads, but it's got that like the drape, and it's got like a really nice like I don't know what to call it, like it's hefty. And anyway, so that is it. That's it. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And, if you have any questions or, you just need help with anything, just reach out to me and I'll be more than glad to help you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I had a lot of fun doing it. And anyway, I'll see you guys maybe on the live stream shows. All right, guys, I'll see you. Bye. All right, guys, I'm back. That lesson, wasn't that fantastic? And if you're wondering, like, girl, you don't think we noticed that your gold clasp turned into a different color? Well, that's because I redid it because it just bugged me. So I went back and redid the whole thing. The second the clasps were different because I know some of you are so, like, you notice everything. I can't get anything past you guys. But I'm going to show you how to finish this guy here. And this one doesn't have a pendant. What I did was it has a button. And that's like when, I said the pendants were optional. So this one is so pretty. And I tell you, when I was selling in Tucson, these were my #1 sellers. Aside from, these were #1 sellers, but so were my tiny knotted stuff. So this is going to be like a perfect bracelet, and plus it could also be a necklace. Let's see how it looks like as a necklace. Huh. Would definitely be a long necklace, but look how pretty that is. Okay, so let's get to it. So on this one, so what I do on the end is, I try to, this is a 6mm ring. I try to do it as like the smallest possible. And I feed my cords through just like I did the other one. And this one, it also has 2 different cords, but I'm not going to get into that because now that you guys are in the know, you know how I did that. So I'm going to come in here. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what I'm going to do next, this is going to be like a sliding, cool thing that I do that you are just going to absolutely love. This is I have a lot of signature knots. I've got the moose knot, but this is definitely one of my signature things that I do. So if you see it anywhere, you definitely saw it here first because that is probably my #1 most liked and loved and adored because it is so awesome. And I'll tell you why, just why it's so awesome. I'm going to clip this here. Yeah, that's about good. And you can tell that I'm very, what's the word? I'm not shy about saying how awesome it is. You know what? I don't feel comfortable like clipping this in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scrap of cord and I am going to, I'm going to attach that. And I kid you not. Seriously, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Doesn't making jewelry just put you in a good mood? I don't care if I've done it all day long. I don't care if I've done it for the last 15 years. For some reason, it just makes me so happy. I wake up, I even dream about like what I'm going to make next because it's just, I just love it. Okay, so now I've got like a nice little like spacing right there. And I'm going to take, I'm going to use waxed jewelry cord in the 0.5. Even though, oh my goodness, that is turned into a huge knotted mess. Let me, I'm going to take some here. One of these days, I'll show you guys my messes. We should do that. On one of our JTV extra shows, like, show me your mess. And I don't mean, like, have you guys ever, like, hired a housekeeper to come and clean your house? And then you clean your house before the housekeeper gets there because you don't want her to think that you're a pig? That's, yeah, no, I want to see it. I want to see the whole thing. I want to see how it's done. Okay, so now I've got some of that wax off. Oh, goody. So I'm just going to put like a little dab. Let me get this nice and focused. I'm going to put just a teeny weeny dab of this, oh boy, this stuff. It's gonna come oozing out. I know it, I know it. And then the clock is ticking with this stuff, and you gotta work fast because I don't know what it is. You know, I complain about it, but I really do like this glue very much. I really do. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna macrame this end part on just like I did the last ring. I'll do it nice and tight. So there's top and bottom. But this ending's gonna be a little bit different because it's got the button, and I'm gonna put my cool, super cool sliding buttonhole thing on there. Let's see. And bottom. Get it nice and tight. I'm gonna come in with my red zapper. And one tip that I have for these, I mean, if you've ever heard me say it on any of the shows, my tip is to use lithium batteries. I mean, my other choice would be rechargeables, because you know, a lot of times I do use the rechargeables, but I have found that the lithiums, God, they just last. And I haven't changed the battery out in this thing for almost, what, 3 months. That's unheard of. I don't know what they put in those lithium batteries, but boy, it really, it just lasts. It just keeps going and going. It's unbelievable. So I'm gonna melt this down. And then just let it cool off just for a second and then tap it down. Okay, so let's see what we got. Let me clean a little bit. Make everything nice and pretty. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, this is a really cute little button. This is a, let me see, let me get that focus. It's supposed to be a sundial. Isn't that cool? Okay, so I am going to attach faux leather, and I'm using a 1/2 mil. Should I do, I don't know. Okay, sometimes you just gotta like feel, you know, if you feel that, you know, a 1/2 mil is too thin, you'll just know. Then you could always go up to the 1 millimeter. I think I'm gonna go, you know what, guys? I think I might go 1 mil. No, that's too thick. Let me see. Let me grab it and just give it the feel test. Let's take a look. Yep, I'm gonna go with the 1 millimeter. Okay, because it just feels right. So I'm just gonna chop off a piece. Probably need no more than 12 inches, actually. I'm just being like wasteful. Okay, so I am going to put this on. I'm gonna offset it by 4 inches. And I am going to put a moose knot on here. My other favorite knot. Okay, so I have this. And here we have a pin and a clip 1 inch apart. And let's do this. With the long end, let's make sure that's focused right there. You could use a peg. I mean, you could use the needle if you want. You could use either one. With the 1 millimeter faux leather, I go either way. And I'm gonna do like, I'm gonna go around just once to give me a double loop, because I don't want the knot to be too big right there. I just want it to be just pretty cool. Look at that. Let me see that. This one's, it just looks so nice. I'm gonna slide this down. I'm gonna get it nice and tight. And looking pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna clip this, and ooh, this is I've got some cool tips here in case you've never seen this. Okay, so should I use the 1 millimeter or the 1/2 mil? Okay, I'm gonna go one. I'm gonna use this one. See, I need about 5 or 6 inches. And what I'm gonna do here, is it not focused? Okay, I'm gonna make a coil knot, okay? But this is going to be a very interesting coil knot. 1, 2, I'm gonna go 4 wraps, okay? So you put your finger underneath, you can take that out, and as long as you're pushing it up, this will go in. And if you think you might have a little bit of trouble with this one, you could always use the needle, because sometimes on the one going back through, I do have a little bit of trouble. So I'm gonna tie that, and I'm gonna squish it, like rub it, just like this, to equalize the tension and tight. Equalize tension and tighten. And what you're gonna do at this point, you're gonna tighten it as much as you can, because after you make the melt balls and you work it a little bit, it will loosen up. But really important, you want to take this this is just to mark it, just to let you know that that is the one that needs to be cut. Because I've had, it's happened to me, and it's happened to a couple of customers where they're like, what do? I cut the wrong cord. Well, you know what? If you cut the wrong one, then you have to do the whole thing over, because it's not gonna work. So, and it's even worse if it's like actually part of the whole thing. So I recommend just like putting those little knots there just to let you know. So what you're gonna do, since you've got this cord here is gonna get cut off anyway, so you're gonna slide that knot like down, and then you're gonna tighten it again just to make sure that nothing got loose. Okay, so now this is where you gotta be kind of careful. So we are going to like bend this away a little ways. And for this, this is where I do use the lighter, because since this is such a thick cord, the lighter, it can handle a lighter. So I'm gonna come in here and cut. I don't know why I love to fluff it. I don't even know if it makes a difference, guys, but I always get happy when I see that little fluffer. Don't ask me why. I'll just, you know what? I'll try it. I'll fluff this one and see if there's a difference. Because I've never done the scientific experiment to see if it actually makes a difference, but we're gonna do this together. So I kind of like go back and forth and blow. Whew. But don't tap it, because you need that ball. That ball is going to keep the knot intact. So you don't want to tap it down, because if you tap it down, what it does is it does make the little, like a little button, but it gives it a sharp edge, and then it'll abrade your faux leather. So you're just gonna leave that little ball. So let's take a look at this. Let's see. Okay, this is how the ball looked. Okay. So now we're gonna do the other one, but we're not gonna fluff it and see what happens. All right. So we have that trim. Okay. And I had a really cool tip. Okay, because the flame goes up, so you kind of want to like turn this, like, so I don't know, like, so that the flame goes away from like this part. Right now, it's really not that important, since that part's going to get cut off anyway. So let's see. Just blow. It's got a little thing right there, but that's not a big deal. So let's take a look at these. And actually, you could, if that little bump bothers you, let's see, maybe we could flake it off. Okay. Yeah, you just go like this and it comes off. Okay, now let's look at this. So which one do you think looks better? You know what? I need to, I don't know if I can zoom in any closer. Let's see if we can, I don't know. Try. I think that's the most I can zoom. I actually think that the one that I didn't fluff out is a little bit smoother. Well, now I know. I've always wondered. Now we learned it together. How awesome is that? So, yeah, don't fluff it. Now we know. Interesting. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide this down. And you might need to like pull. And see, the thing is, when you use a light, see how it melted this part? But since we're gonna cut it off anyway, it doesn't matter. Because now we're able to slide this knot, and just kind of slide it like back and forth a few times to like, kind of like distribute the tension. And what it does, it just kind of loosens it up a little bit. And those balls on the end, they get like pulled in more. So they're a lot closer. So that's really cool. So now the next thing I need to do is figure out what the maximum opening for this loop is gonna be. So I'm gonna put this in and let's slide it down a little bit more because you wanna be able to get it on and off comfortably. Okay, so I think let's pull this, about right there. Okay, so I'm gonna make an overhand knot on this guy and then one on this guy. And one really cool thing about this sliding knot thing, you can use a big button because because when you use a big button, you have to deal with a big, buttonhole. But since this one slides closed, see that? You can get away with it with a big button. And then what I do on these guys, I'm gonna put some kind of decorative bead. What do I have? Something that matches. Gotta be something like with a larger hole. So let me see what I have in my large hole bead stash. Ooh, these guys. I think these look pretty. Let's see if they work. I always like putting something at the end of my, these might be too big. Nope, they fit. So I'm gonna put this here and I'm gonna get that knot nice and, you're gonna have to like push that end in a little bit to get it close. And then with your nail, just get it nice and tight. Okay, that one's done. And now we're gonna do this side. Put that in, slide it down, and I'm not gonna fluff these ends. I am just going to, okay, so let's see right there, you're gonna have to put your nail right there because you're gonna have to you don't want that part to get dislodged, because then you'll have a big gap. Okay, everything's looking good. So now when I melt these guys here, I'll definitely tap them down. So I'm gonna melt this one. Hello. Just want to wait a couple of seconds before you tap it so you don't burn your finger. Okay. Okay, this one's done. Oh, I'm very excited to see this. Let's move everything out of the way. All right. So this one is, let's put it on. So pretty. And that's like when I tell you guys, sometimes I say, oh, I'm gonna make a bracelet, and then I change my mind. So that's like you know, if you make your threads like longer than they need to be, I mean, it's not like you're like wasting thread because you could always use it for something else. So see, that slides nice and closed, and then you come in, just loosen this up a little bit because you don't want it to like cut the circulation on your arm. You just kind of like even it out. Let's do that. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. See, so this is this technique, it's just so over the top. It's just so elegant. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, that's the only thing I can use to describe it. So, so that is how you attach like a button using the sliding, adjusting, like loop technique. Anyway, that is it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this awesome tutorial. Anyway, so this time for sure that's the end, because I said I bidded you guys farewell, but this is actually it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. Okay, I will see you next time. Bye.